Hello everybody and welcome back to another wonderful episode of Guapish, Rule 34. As always, I'm your host, Tanner, and today I'm joined by my very special co-host, Nico.
I love oil, guys! I fucking love that shit! I can't wait for our country to go to war again so I can die for oil!
Woo! And shout out to everyone at home watching The Big Game. Yay!
Yeah.
And also
Go
joining
Mets!
us... and also joining us is my co-host, Jackson.
I think my current biggest blunder in life is not working for a public company because I cannot bring value to shareholders. It sucks!
I'm trying to think of a joke to make about the invisible hand of the market, but nothing's coming to me. And finally joining us is my co-host, Dylan.
MAGA.
I hardly know her. God damn it. Well, boys... It's Super Bowl Sunday, the big game Sunday, and here I am sitting at home, not watching the game.
You're not missing much.
Apparently, you know.
Quite honestly, I don't think you're ever missing much when you're not watching football.
That's because you're a fucking woman.
Can we take like some online football quiz?
Find out what football mascot you are.
I can't find any quizzes that aren't lame shit like, oh, which logo is this?
Oh.
Fair enough. Tanner,
Yeah.
you did actually have a topic that you wanted to bring forward today, though, that you were incredibly heated about.
Oh, yeah. So,
Oh, yeah.
if I can bring your attention to this fucking article here, it's about an upcoming reality show called Virgin Island, where it is a reality show where a bunch of virgins will be placed on an island and expected to, I guess, hook up with each other, and if they fail to do that, there's prostitutes there to fuck them.
That's interesting.
And you know, I feel like the phrase moral degradation of society gets thrown around a lot. This is a clear-cut case of the moral degradation of society. I think it was only 3 weeks ago, that we talked about reality shows, and I'm like, reality shows are so lame now, because it's just like, here's some people in a place, maybe they'll fuck. Now it's not even, there isn't even the maybe they'll fuck. Now that's the goal of the show.
It's not
They're
a meme anymore, guys. That's literally everything it is.
Exactly.
What's going on?
I made a joke 2 weeks ago, and it is becoming reality. I thought what I was saying was too far outside reasonable, fucking whatever, reasonable existence, and here it is right in front of us. Like, it's just...
So, like, my big question about this whole thing is that, like,
How do I
get on the
on?
show, Tanner?
Are they hot virgins, too? There's no way these people are actually virgins. Oh, here we go. Wait. I just found a solid sentence in here. It has already attracted attention after the creators were struggling to find any virgins willing to take part.
He wants to put himself as a virgin on like public TV. This is really fucked up. I don't know why anyone would agree to do this.
I don't know. And why would anyone watch this, honestly?
Yeah, what even is there to... Like, you can't just show sex on public TV as far as I'm concerned, so where would this even air, and how much of it are you even gonna see? And in which case, how is this just not The Bachelor or The Bachelorette?
This is a bold social experiment as opposed to anything raunchy.
Yeah,
Shut
I
the
think-
fuck up. Kill yourself.
Bold social experiment is an interesting way to phrase that.
It's like fucking prank channels, just like throwing a blanket over them committing a mass shooting as a prank.
Yeah, exactly. This is fucking... I hope this gets canceled before it even comes out. This shouldn't exist.
Yeah.
I hope this is a CIA psyop where they find out anyone who watches this show and then take away their right to vote.
There we go.
Oh, that'd be funny.
Where even is this airing on?
Like what
Says-
channel?
Yeah.
Channel 4?
Channel 4, but like... That doesn't
I think
really
this
say
might
much.
be a UK thing.
Okay. Sounds
could
about
be.
right. They love their weird shit like that.
Oh
That
yeah,
is
those fuckers. I hate that country so much.
Oh.
Speaking of hating things so much,
Okay.
Tanner,
Yeah.
now, you have been staunchly opposed to piracy over the years. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And as the years have gone by, I'd hope that you've become, like, older, wiser, especially after you've, really started to reap the benefits of piracy. And so I'm just wondering...
I'd say the only thing I've become is poorer. So,
So what's your current stance on piracy then?
you should avoid it when possible. Mm-hmm. You definitely shouldn't take pride in it.
Well, certainly
yeah.
not. However, Tanner, it's just becoming more and more just like, fuck them, you know? Just pirate this shit at this point. So, recently, guys, in recent news, it's been announced that Funimation is completely shutting down forever now. Crunchyroll's dissolving them because, like, they purchased them a while ago. And so, yeah, Funimation is gone now, okay? It's fucking gone. And what this means is that, you know, digital media, if you weren't aware, is not actually yours. You don't own any of that shit. And so a bunch of the things that people bought digitally through Funimation, it's just going away forever now. They no longer have access to it.
Really?
So, yeah, it's pretty fucked up. And on top of that, Crunchyroll is also like, by the way, guys, we're also doubling our memberships now, even though we're giving you less stuff. Fuck you. So, like, you know, just like all these big ass streaming services are just making me feel more and more like, I don't want to put up with any of this shit, man. I just want to steal your stuff.
I mean, that's totally valid. I definitely was against it for a long time. And as far as, you know, free stuff goes, I don't think anybody can say no to free stuff. And, you know, if you're not facing immediate repercussions, it's fine.
I fully support stealing from people who don't speak English.
Yeah. And, like, this is especially fucked up, you know, because if you were unaware of Crunchyroll's history, they started as a piracy site, but then over time became, like, a legitimate streaming service.
Oh, how interesting.
And so, like, you know, they should be fully aware of what happens when you give people just this really shitty service and what they end up doing afterwards, you know?
Is that irony? I feel like that's irony.
Yes.
Let's go.
Rather severe, in fact.
Yeah, because Funimation was... I'm trying to remember what I know Funimation for, but I'm not...
Everything. You know them from everything involving anime.
I kind of figured. I mean, but was Funimation in the middle of creating anything new recently, or were they...
I mean, Funimation doesn't create anything. They're like a big part...
Are you sure they don't have any original content?
To my knowledge,
Funimation
doesn't like actually create anything. They're just like a big hand in like localizing shit over here in the West.
That makes sense then.
Jackson might have a much better grasp on what exactly they do.
I don't know fucking anything about Funimation.
Okay,
Well,
there we go.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, I think that's like their main role.
Why are they going away? They ran out of money or something? What happened?
No, Crunchyroll owns them, and they're like, well, we don't want you anymore. Fuck you, Funimation. So they're just dissolving them.
Why isn't Crunchyroll, like, absorbing all their content and subscribers then?
Because they probably just don't care, I guess.
No,
they're like,
Doesn't
well,
make any sense.
yeah. It's impossible to say. It's a very strange business move all around, but like...
Yeah, that's literally throwing money away. I don't get... I have a, like...
Which is why they're increasing their fucking membership costs so that they can get that money back.
Listen, you could be totally correct. I have a feeling you're missing some piece of information, because this literally doesn't make any sense that they would be doing this. Like, it's hard to accept on face value.
Sometimes companies are just greedy, man. What can I say?
But this isn't even the greedy move, though. This is stupid and loses them money.
Yes.
It's the opposite of greedy, so even from that, like, logic, it doesn't line up.
It's tough to say, dude. I only skimmed an article about it, so,
okay.
like, you know, there's only so much that information can really do for me.
Right,
yeah, I mean, if they're doubling their membership, the only people I can validly see keeping their Crunchyroll membership are people who literally have nothing else or nothing better to do with their lives and pay for no other streaming service. Otherwise, you're just going to have all those people who kind of casually watch it or, like, popped it on every once in a while that are just going to drop it. So in the long run, yeah, this will just be an entire loss of money on Crunchyroll's part. So, you know, hopefully they know what they're doing, because apparently none of us do.
Or maybe it's like, you know, get people who just, like, don't even pay attention to, like, what they're actually subscribed to at this point, you know?
I mean, I guess, yeah, kind of like people who subscribe and then forget, and then they just pay monthly for things they don't know about.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you guys think the percentage of, like, good anime out of all anime compares to the percentage of, like, good American shows to all American shows?
I think anime is higher.
I mean, like, you know...
but...
We're, like, including fucking, like, reality TV and all this other stupid bullshit in there with American shows.
This
So,
is also
like-
incredibly subjective.
Yeah.
Like some people might think like some super schlocky dog shit, like some random generic slice of life anime, or you
Like
know,
clan ads.
shut up,
Oh,
or like
shit.
you know, like fucking Hell's Kitchen, something like that. I don't know. Hell's Kitchen is probably a bad example. I don't really know any reality TV shows.
Meet the Kardashians.
Yeah, like
Yes.
something like that. People can love that shit and think it's different. So completely arbitrary.
Let's say our arbitrary standard is it's widely seen as being like quality programming and not just like something that you just enjoy watching.
You know, I think they're much more on par than you'd think.
I think 5% for both.
Damn.
Okay. I think I agree.
Yeah, it's not
I
a terrible
assume-
percentage.
Yeah, I assume most of the shitty anime stays in Japan.
Yeah. A lot of that shit won't get, you know, Western adaptations whatsoever.
Right.
But, like, the shit that we do still get can be pretty fucking awful as well, so, you know. For example, Redo of a Healer, have you seen that, Tanner?
No.
You should check it out. I think you'll enjoy it a lot.
I feel like you were just talking about it in the context of it being terrible.
Well, I mean, like, you know, what happens in it is pretty terrible, but, like, I don't feel like that truly has much to do with the actual quality of it.
Oh, okay. So there's a lot of, rape and incest in it then?
Yes, exactly, actually.
Oh.
Maybe not incest. Jackson, do you know if there's any incest in it?
I've got no idea. I watched
Okay.
like the first 2 episodes of it because I thought it'd be funny, and it was a little funny, but I didn't see any incest there. Mostly just a lot of rape.
Oh,
Yeah.
a lot.
It's a
Holy
shitload. I think a guy like takes a what the fuck happens? There's some scene where he's like he's smashing some girl next to a fireplace, or like maybe he's about to, and he's like, okay, you can either take this rod, so he grabs a metal rod out of the fireplace, it's like steaming, or you can take this rod, pointing at his penis.
They're doing bits while they rape them too?
Yeah.
Why are they
Oh,
giving
yeah,
them
this
their
is like-
Type 5?
This is like some chick that I don't think what he did is justified, frankly, but like I think she was just like a dick to him or something. I don't even really know. I think this is
So
probably
she
something more
deserved
fucked.
it.
Probably something more fucked up that she did. It's been a long time since I've seen that show, but yeah, he was fucking her up. He was breaking her fingers and shit. You know.
Oh, God, I hate
Yeah, it was
that.
pretty brutal.
All in service of the story, I'm sure.
Of course, he's also a healer, of course, which is like this chick. So he's like healing her and like breaking her fucking fingers and healing her.
God, that's such a bad way to abuse your powers.
Yeah, and then he like gets some like dog girl, and then just like constantly fucks the shit out of her. It's really strange. It's a very weird anime.
What is the purpose of this show?
Revenge
It's like revenge
fantasy.
porn.
Oh.
Revenge fantasy.
So it's not a show, it's just porn.
Yes.
Okay.
It sounds like it.
And yet, it's still just like, you know, shown normally, like on Crunchyroll and shit like
Oh,
that.
really?
It's not like categorized as a hentai.
I mean, maybe
Huh.
I doubt it's because it wasn't released that way. I would really hope that's not why.
It's because you just don't see like dick and vagina shit. Like you'll see like their boobs, and you can know what's happening, but you're not really seeing the specifics of it.
Okay.
Well,
It's tastefully done, is what I'm hearing.
Well, is it the implication that makes it bad, or is it the content you see that make? Well, I guess it's try to understand what I'm saying.
According to Japanese airing laws, I'm pretty sure it's the content you see. It's like in Korea, porn isn't allowed in Korea, so they'll just do basically what Redo of a Healer is, where it's just like you see people fucking, but you don't actually see any of the specifics of it, so you can't actually confirm if they're fucking or not. But like they probably are.
It's heavily
Gotcha.
implied, you know?
Yeah.
huh?
Just like in general, it seems like anime is starting to get much more saucy nowadays with like what they're allowed to show. I know that there were several other shows as of late that have been, you know, having a bit of scrutiny thrown at them for just how much saucy content they're showing off, you know? Like, what, Jackson, what's that fucking anime about a guy who turns into like his crush's dog and she ends up fucking him?
What the wait?
Oh, like Iniki-san's dog. Yeah, fucking Blake watched that with his roommate. It's a crazy anime series to watch. But yeah, it's basically just some dude gets turned into a dog, and there's some girl he has a crush on, and the girl adopts him, and fucked up shit ensues.
I think he also has a threesome with like her and her friend at some point.
Yeah, probably.
I'm sad that I have to ask this question. I'm hoping he didn't fuck her in dog form.
No,
right?
of course he
Well,
did.
he's certainly not a human.
So, as Americans increasingly become a larger consumer of anime than Japanese people, is
Than
anime...
Japanese people. Well,
There's
Oh, no, I
more.
get-
There's significantly more Americans than
Yeah, that's
Japanese.
fair.
So
It's inevitable, yeah.
I think it'll happen eventually. is anime just gonna become worse? Like, is it gonna become as terrible as a lot of American television is?
That one thing that's nice about Japanese anime is that most of the time, the Japanese creators of these things are completely ignorant about anything that happens overseas.
Yeah.
Like, people just recently, like the manga publishing scene, are like, oh shit, we can make a ton of money by selling this shit to foreigners? No way! They're so fucking far behind. And basically all anime is made completely catered towards a Japanese audience.
Yeah.
They don't think about Westerners at all. There's very few examples of things like that happening. Like, Vinland Saga is one, actually. That manga was kind of mid in Japan, and then Westerners got their hands on it, and they fucking love that shit and adore it. And now they're the primary audience of that anime and the manga. But that's very rare. It's like 99% catered towards Japanese people.
I feel like that's how media content should be made.
Tanner, have you seen Vinland Saga?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. I was gonna say, it seems like something you'd be way into.
I am way into it. Don't you remember me going on my rant about why is season 2 like just slavery the whole time? Like they spend
love
like
slavery in their anime.
They spend like, I think it's a full 24 episode season, and the whole season is just like, man, doesn't slavery fucking suck? I'm like, yeah, I get it. It's
I think it gets a little deeper than that, but
Do you guys know Vinland Saga? Like, the inspiration behind that was like some like European cartoon called Vicky the Viking.
I didn't know that. Is that
check
true?
it out. Here's an image of it.
The man was ready on deck with that picture.
What kind of retarded shit is this going to be?
What the f...
I don't believe you.
Fun fact, that Vicky the Viking also inspired One Piece. There's something about the show that the Japanese love, apparly.
Why does this look familiar?
I do hear so many stories of that where some super obscure, most of the time children's thing in like Europe randomly blows up in Japan like 50 years ago, and then they're like, by the way, every anime you've ever heard of is inspired by Popo the pawn dog or some shit from Poland.
Yeah.
Like, huh? How did they even hear about this? But okay. I would love to see an anime done in like the American rubber hose art style.
That could be pretty cool.
I don't think I know what that is.
What?
It's what old Mickey Mouse cartoons art style is called, because the characters are all wiggly.
Yeah, you know, like
shit,
Cuphead,
yeah.
Dylan.
Yeah,
Cuphead.
I gotcha. I feel like that'd be interesting. I don't know. I feel like, put in the context of anime, I feel like that wouldn't be very entertaining to watch. I feel like they're two different tones.
I'm just saying the art style. They can still do everything else their way.
I don't know. I think it just looked funky, though.
Why?
Yeah, just because when I'm imagining that animation style, I'm also just imagining the show itself, and when I'm trying to piece that into like some kind of anime plot, it just doesn't want to like click.
I think it'd be cool. Like, I think One Piece would make a lot of sense.
Well, yeah, that
to do it like a rubber hose episode.
I can see that.
Dylan, you're saying you don't want to see One Punch Man in rubber hose animation?
Not really. I feel like that'd be worse.
That'd be awesome. Because it'd be like a Popeye.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like the Japanese don't futz around with art style as much as Western animation studios do.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely have their niches for sure. Like, I don't see widely varying animation styles as compared to what we have out here. Because it's usually like, I think I can think of like 4 or 5 like anime art styles, but that might even be pushing it if we're discluding movies.
That's true, but at the same time, I feel like, you know, there's just something iconic about the anime art style and what they're able to accomplish with it, you know? Like, for
example... Almost
example...
too iconic.
Exactly.
It's getting a bit old, guys.
I mean, like, you know, like, Western animators are starting to, like, finally really take a lot more from, like, anime influence at this point. For example, like, fight scenes in a lot of Western cartoons are fucking stupid and they aren't very good in terms of, like, their choreography. But over an anime, they can be fucking sweet, dude. And now, Western animators are finally starting to be like, hang on a second, this anime shit's awesome! We should, like, well, you see Studio Trigger? We should do that, too! So, for example, like, you know, the Rise of the TMNT, like... A lot of people didn't really like that one very much because it looks so drastically different from every other Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles thing. But the fight scenes in it are so fucking awesome, though.
I thought a lot of people really liked that movie.
It's an entire series before the movie, Tanner, that people didn't like, which is why they had to cap it off with a movie because they couldn't get any more seasons.
Oh,
I
Yeah.
had no idea about that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
We still haven't watched any of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies, dude.
Thank goodness.
Yeah,
What do you mean?
I'm not super hot on the Michael Bay TMNT
Listen.
movies. I don't think they're great.
I'd say 2 to 3 of the 6 TMNT movies are pretty good.
Do any of them include the Michael Bay renditions?
No.
Thank God.
The new one that came out, I think it was last year.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot about that one.
Yeah, I've heard people enjoyed it. Oh, pretty good deal.
3
Yeah.
to 4 of the 7 TMNT movies, I think, are pretty quality.
Is it 3 to 4 because you're unsure if one of them is not good, or
I don't know if Secret of the Ooze is good.
Okay, that's one.
You know
I hear
what? I'm
people
pretty
reference
sure
a lot.
Secret of the Ooze isn't. But the 2008 CGI one, the original 1990 live action one, and then this one last year, I know were good.
Yeah.
And we're gonna find out when Tanner does Turtle Mania month, okay?
That's right.
Unfortunately, there aren't any months that have a T at the very beginning of it, so we had to get a little creative with it, but...
Turtle Ember.
Except Turtle. that would...
Speaking of movies,
Huh?
Yeah, man, like, we have 4 movies to talk about. We can kick her off a little early here.
makes sense.
Unless Jackson wants to add to the anime discussion. This guy loves anime. Jackson, do you have anything you want to add about anime?
I give up on anime. It's over. GG.
Oh no, no more clan ads. So sad.
Nothing will cap it, so there's no point.
Well, I guess if that's the case, then it's time for Guapish at the movies!
Guapish at the movies!
Jackson, what do we watch this week?
This movie, let me restart here. This Patreon pick for the week was The Raid Redemption, the 2011 film. Thank you, Mr. T, for recommending this movie. Appreciate it.
You said his name right.
All right, let me give the rundown here for The Raid Redemption. We are in Indonesia with a police group, an elite SWAT team of some sort, and they're going into this apartment building controlled by a drug lord because they need to take him down. And so they're sneaking through the building, they're, breaching and clearing, doing some real SWAT shit, and then they get spotted, the building gets locked down, and now they have to fight for their fucking lives. And everyone dies. The end.
Well, almost everybody. Quick thing here.
I'm gonna read my haiku now.
Oh shit, we're still doing haikus.
This is a mainstay now, whether you guys like it or not, and I
Oh, damn.
sense that you don't. But
Bummer.
I don't mind
anyway, here's my haiku for the raid. Resident Evil. Police in over their heads. Then everyone dies.
Yeah, so just as a preface, just so I can see where everybody's at, because I kind of can sense a vibe with this movie. Did you
The
guys...
dub was awesome, Dylan.
did you watch English dub, or...
Yeah.
Shit.
It was awesome.
Yeah, I took the liberty upon myself to do this movie some justice and turned off the English dub about halfway through. And gotta say, no joke, this movie is 10 times better when it's not English dubbed.
What? There's no way.
The English, the English dub fucking sucked.
Initially, when I procured this movie through very legitimate means, it was the English dub, and there weren't any other options for different dubs. And then we watched the movie, and I was like, holy shit, this is fucking horrible. And then I went and procured the official dubs through very legitimate means. And we never actually watched it. I think we planned on watching it with Blake, and then that didn't happen.
So... Okay,
Alas.
so I'm wondering if the version I watched was that one then, because when I opened up...
Yes, you did. You watched the one after I got all the dub.
Yeah, because I had audio stream, I had like English, Indonesia, Spanish, all this... Anyway, yeah, the thing is, I'm just gonna go into this, because this is what I was talking to Jackson about the other day. The issue, because he asked me, like, what's the difference between dubbing over live action and dubbing over cartoons? The issue with dubbing over live action, and I'll use the specific scene with them being in the SWAT van, when you're trying to dub over, you get the background noise of the van, but you're getting the sound of them being in a studio recording to the movie, and it's just hard to recreate being in that moment. And like a lot of the time, the English voice acting didn't match the facial expressions of the people in the movie. Also, there was just inconsistencies with like from character to character. Like not every person was super into the dubbing. So yeah, I wanted to give the English dub a chance, but I got real tired of it. So halfway through, I turned on the Indonesia stream, and yeah, it was significantly better. I enjoyed this movie a lot more, and I imagine I would have enjoyed it a lot more if I'd watched the whole thing in Indonesian. But alas, I wanted to experience both sides of the coin, as one would say.
Dude, the dub kicked ass. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Nico, you're saying that because you don't like reading.
That's not why. It's because it was genuinely amazing, okay?
Yeah.
Like, the fucking delivery on these lines, man.
Guys, the dialogue is literally the least important part of this movie. Can we move on to some other aspect, please?
No, dude, it's so important, okay? The dub was amazing. I'm not gonna let these bastards besmirch it like this.
The choreography was fucking sick, though. The choreography in this movie kicked ass, quite literally. I love that shit.
It's really cool. I definitely like a lot, okay? There's a major problem. We keep talking about, like, these fucking East versus West things today, but a big problem in a lot of, like, these Western action movies, especially ones that focus a lot on martial arts, is that they just keep fucking cutting constantly during these action sequences. It's awesome in this film how they like, you know, actually, like, you know, keep the shot going, showing you what the fuck is happening, and not just, like, constantly fucking cutting 40 times when a guy throws a single punch.
Yeah, I gotta say, characters in this movie can take a fucking punch, though. Like, I feel like they got in that, like, last fight scene, like, the two brothers were, I mean, all three of them, they were all just getting their asses handed to them. But no, they just kept getting back up and going back at it. Like, I was like, they got the one brother off the chain. I was like, there's no way. Like, our main cop guy's gonna have to fight this guy on his own. I'm like, it's gonna be awesome when he fights him and beats him. And then the brother joins them. I'm like, no, this dude just took, like, 40 consecutive punches to the gut. There's no way.
Fun fact. Indonesia has mandatory conscription, which means that every man and woman, I think, when they turn 18, serves 2 years in the military. This includes mandatory martial arts training. As a result, every person in the country knows martial arts, which means stuntmen are so incredibly cheap that the only way they get paid at all is they have to be willing to actually put themselves at physical harm. In a lot of American movies, you know, they will be, you know, they won't actually be hitting each other and they'll just try to fake it convincingly. These fuckers are hitting each other because they have to get that paycheck.
You know, I'm really glad you said that too, because I was watching this and I was like, no, like, everything looks like it's connecting. Like, there's no pulling, and I was like, there's no way, though. They can't be full contact. I don't think they would allow that.
They're not, like, putting their full might into everything, but they are making contact at speed.
This movie was nuts, dude. And I like
and they
how,
were actually shooting those... No.
No, I can appreciate when how could it foreign movies don't pull punches as far as like graphics or, you know, action goes. You know, just going at it. I thought the part where he had the fucking police baton and the knife and how like precise, you know, just the elegance and like the precision he had in that scene. Oh, so good.
Dude, just wait until we get to a Serbian film. You're gonna love that.
There we go.
A what?
What I like about that scene is how random it is whether the people coming at him get away from that encounter either dead, horrifically injured, or just with like a bit of a headache.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they're really taking a chance where like, I hope I'm one of the guys he just knocks out with the baton instead of, you know, going straight into the knee and then pulling up, you know?
I hated that. That was
my favorite kill in this movie is when he throws that one guy through the door and then grabs that like 16-year-old by the head and then fucking reverse dolphin dives.
Oh, yeah, that was sick.
And then the guys run into the room to continue attacking him, and they step on top of the kid.
Yeah, you know, they're all a bunch of drug dealers. I'm sure that there's no need.
There's
for
no
courtesy.
honor among thieves, you might say.
Nico Jackson, and I'm sure, and Tanner, I know you also have a problem, but I know Nico and Jackson bring this up all the time. Wilhelm scream. Did you catch it? I'm sure you did.
Yes.
Yeah.
There we go.
It brings the movie down 12 fucking spots for me.
Yeah, I was about to say, I heard that, I'm like, there goes the movie ranking for Nico and Jackson.
Yeah. It's, like, why the fuck are they putting in foreign films, okay? What the fuck is the deal
funny.
with that?
This movie was directed by I believe a Dutch or Belgian director. So it's because he was on like a vacation in Indonesia, and he saw I forget the name of it, but the type of martial arts they're doing is like a specific Indonesian martial arts that's kind of unique to that realm.
I believe it's called karate.
No. And he was like, damn, this form of martial arts is fucking sick. I should make a whole movie showing it off. And then he made this.
Can we just go with the idea that the Wilhelm scream is like the Where's Waldo of movies?
It is.
There we go.
I don't think it is, because it's not hard to find. It's incredibly obvious and jarring whenever it shows up.
Oh, hold on, Nico. It got me in the mist.
Yeah, it sure did.
It took me literally 12 times upon reviewing the footage to hear it.
Alright, so, getting back to the film here.
Yeah.
Now, we've been talking some pretty high praise about it thus far. The action is fantastic. Pretty much, non-stop action is really cool, okay? But I think it's really hard to do it well and still have, an actually compelling narrative, which this film just completely lacks for me. I don't give a fuck about any of the characters or anything like that in this film. Also, just the visuals of this movie are really fucking dull and uninteresting. Like, when you look at a movie like, let's say, Mad Max Fury Road, okay, that's another instance of, non-stop action. It's also taking place in what would customarily be a rather dull setting, a desert, and yet they're still able to do all these, really cool and interesting things with the visuals. I just don't get any of that with this film, which for me is, the biggest drawback for it.
I think it comes down to tone. Mad Max Fury Road is meant to be, in your face and over the top and crazy. And this is much grittier and, it's so dirty and grimy and they're fucking killing each other. And it's, corrupt police versus drug lords and whatever.
And it's fucking boring to look at.
You're boring to look at, too.
I mean, I think the environment matches the movie, and I think this movie is close quarters in a couple of ways, and what I mean by that is not only, obviously the action, but it's also contained. You can't have crazy... I think the highest, crazy point of this movie is probably when he threw that propane tank in the fridge, and then aimed the fridge out the door, and then blew up the grenade inside of it and created, that big-ass explosion. You can't get bigger than that, especially when, your setting is a dark, dingy, drug lord-infested apartment building, where all you have is limited ammo and combat weapons or just your bare fists. It's not like Mad Max where you got wacky cars and mutated people and, all this random shit going on. You're outside, you can be exploratory. You're inside of a building where
it doesn't need to get bigger than that, though, Dylan. And, even the environment itself, you can still do interesting things with the environment, be it, changing the lighting to make it, more visually interesting, or just all this other stuff, but it just doesn't do, which leaves it's just so mundane, okay? I need to find new adjectives to describe how fucking boring this movie looks.
Purpose, though.
Even it doesn't matter if it's done with a purpose if the end product still isn't good.
He did a flip off the wall. That was pretty cool. That was utilizing the environment.
Mm-hmm.
Jackson, how about you? I don't think you said anything about this film so far.
Yeah, I thought it was okay. I don't really like action movies. I think the choreography was good, but I think a lot of the scenes dragged on for way too long. I'm kind of with Nico, a little bit. Obviously, the movie's tone is supposed to be dark and gritty. I feel like the movie was still pretty light for what that is. I don't know. They had some interesting cinematography, but most of it was kind of just run-of-the-mill shit. Yeah, it's all right. I'm also with Nico with the plot thing. I wasn't really invested in much of anything. And I'm also really confused as to why the guy at the end, with all his cameras and shit, had literally no security at all. And the guys just came in there and fucking took him hostage, and there was nothing at all.
Well,
I think the implication is most of his security was still scouring the building for them.
That too.
Is he retarded?
Yes.
How did he get to become a drug kingpin of this massive empire, presumably? That's partnered with the police if he forgets to, have security around him.
It's also a setup, though, so I think that was part of the whole thing.
Him being retarded and getting executed is part of his setup.
I mean,
he doesn't. Not part of
this scenario is presumably
the setup isn't
before.
Relating to the kingpin guy.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I mean, the setup is he was part of setting up the cop guy that was going in there because it's just to kill all the cops.
Yeah, but this interaction's
I think it's
happened
dumb
before.
for him. It's still really stupid for him just to completely throw away all of his guards.
I mean, he's never had the situation happen before, clearly. So
no, when the cop guy... Hold on, wait. When the cop guy was going into his office, there were 3 guards outside that he shot dead.
Yeah. Well, they killed like one guy. No, they killed 3 guys.
He
but
took
like, it's still...
he took the gun from one guy, killed him, and then there were 2 more guards in that hallway guarding the entrance to the boss's room that he shot dead.
Still very lax defenses is the big thing at the end of the day for the big kingpin guy. It felt like if I forgot that they had guards at the door, I feel like it wasn't really much of a struggle to get into there.
Well, it wasn't a struggle,
immediately.
But
I mean, to get from the start of the movie, obviously it's a struggle, but I mean, like, to the point they're like, all right, now we gotta climb the rest of the tower to get to the boss, and then they were at the boss immediately.
Which, like,
kill some guards at the door.
On top of that, why is it that, like, this old man police officer, like, randomly becomes, like, actually good at his job and, like, killing people, like, halfway through the movie, when, like, at the beginning, we see him just, like, fucking cowering and shit like that. Like, he's totally terrified to even be in this situation.
Yeah, he looked incompetent.
Because his motivations changed.
yeah, that was part of his act.
Maybe. Who knows? Who's to say? Maybe we'll have to get the director on here and really pick his brain,
I guess so. Does anybody know how to speak Dutch or whatever language that
Dutch?
I'm sure we
know.
can just, like, kind of figure it out on the fly. It doesn't seem like a very complex language.
They all speak English.
Yeah, that too. Alright, does anyone have any final thoughts on this one?
This movie kicks ass.
No. I'm kidding. Yes, it does. And in fact, kicking ass is exclusively what it does. Dylan, what do you rank in this movie?
I may be ranking it in the quadrant of the higher tier of S-.
Whoa. That's crazy. Jackson, how about you, dude?
Oh, I feel like I'm going to be the most negative by far. I give it a B.
Okay.
I thought it was okay. Honestly, I got pretty fucking bored halfway through it. I thought the story of it was like cool, and I liked the gritty environment of it all, and then I got really fucking bored.
Dude, you're not gonna be the lowest because I also thought it was a B.
Oh, okay. Funnily enough, I'm also giving it an S-.
I thought you were gonna say a B.
No.
That would be really funny.
Also, like, I'm kind of surprised I haven't seen this, like, plot device in an action movie before, where it's like an apartment building controlled by a guy.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that seems like a very straightforward premise that makes for a really quick and simple action movie, but I can't think of any other movies that do that.
Yeah, I was trying to think of how this movie was going to pad out its time because of how I saw things going, and then, I kind of put it together rather quickly.
Anyway, where did we land? A?
Probably.
Yeah, that puts us at a solid A, which is pretty funny figuring 2 S- and 2 Bs. I mean,
I can live with
the
that.
overall rank makes sense, but I think our rankings in general are pretty funny. It's like 2 people are really high on it, and 2 people are like, okay.
Yeah.
If you guys start taking those testosterone injections I've been giving you, you'll up it a bit.
Chance.
I don't want to, Tanner. You're just gonna have to inject them into me while I sleep.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm also definitely would probably rate this movie a little bit higher if I had watched the actual language. The English dub took me out of it a lot. It was really fucking bad.
I was really telling Jackson the English dub took out the immersion, and the line delivery is so much better in the original dub, obviously.
Well, guys, when we watch the sequel, we can make sure we watch the sub.
There we
Yeah,
go.
I'll make sure to get it in the sub next time.
There we go.
What's
next?
Our
next
next movie, guys, I'm trying to do a smooth transition for the fucking cutaways.
I'm sorry.
Our next movie this week is Pay It Forward, the 2000 film, Pay It Forward. I picked this movie because I remember watching it in high school way back in the day. I think it was like freshman year or something. Doesn't really matter. This movie made an impression on me because back then I actually really liked the message of Pay It Forward, and I also was super familiar with movie ranking stuff. I know this movie is kind of lambasted about being like incredibly melodramatic and formulaic and manipulative to try to get people to like vote for it for the Emmys or some shit.
Which
I don't
it
know
is
exactly
to
what
some degree,
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, I still enjoyed this movie, and I am glad I picked it. I think it's cute. Let me get into the plot synopsis here. So we've got a kid who I forgot all the names of every single character per usual, but we've got
Trevor.
Kid, and we have his whore mom, who's not actually a whore, but she works at some nefarious places, like being a waitress in Las Vegas or something. And he's got a teacher who's got like some fucking burn scars on him, and he is trying to get his kids in fucking 7th grade of middle school to think of an idea of changing the world in some way, for like an extra credit assignment. And our main character, Kid, comes up with the idea of paying it forward, which is basically you do 3 good things for 3 random people, or you do 1 good thing for 3 random people, and then they have to continue the chain of paying it forward by doing 3 good things to 3 different people as well. And then it just goes ad nauseum, basically. It's like a ploy to fix the world or something, as everyone does good things for each other. And we see people doing good things for each other. There's like a reporter line where he's trying to basically get to the source of the pay it forward shtick. And he eventually does. He meets the kid. There's also like some drama about the mom and her ex-husband, and also the teacher starts getting with the mom because that's one of the good things the kid tries to do, is try to get his mom hooked up with somebody that's not gonna fucking beat her. Fun times. Of course, it all accumulates with the kid thinking he wants to do good for the kid he saw getting bullied previously earlier in the film. So he tries to stand up for that kid, and he gets fucking shanked in the school and dies. And then there's like some like sad scene where the whole town is like lighting fire or something, you know, torches or something. I don't know how to say it, but like they got like lights outside their house. Yeah, candles. I couldn't think of the fucking word. I don't know why I couldn't think of candles. And that's basically the movie. I don't know why the kid fucking dies.
Yeah, I will say, I'm gonna jump right... Oh, haiku time, sorry, you're right.
A trailer trash kid. A man burned inside and out. Oh my god, a knife!
Yeah, I don't have a ton of, like, huge things to say about this movie. I love the message. I thought it was adorable.
I have one huge and important thing to say about this movie, though. Guys, do you remember how Trevor owns an N64 in this movie?
Do you figure out what game it's in?
I managed to track down what game was in that N64. It was, in fact, Ocarina of Time.
What a gamer.
Right?
No wonder his mom hates him.
Whoa.
I think it would have been much more on brand if it were like Bubsy 3D or something like that. That would make a lot more sense for like a trailer trash people to have.
Anyway, the only major thing that I have about this movie is the ending. I didn't like the ending. I thought it would have made more sense another way. Like, I get it. Like, it's a whole martyr situation where this kid died for the message and the gift he was trying to give the world. So he, in his final act of do-gooding and righteousness, he helped the kid he failed to help last time and ended up dying for it, which, by the way, I don't think you can die from an abdominal stab wound to that.
Of course you can.
Well, yeah, you definitely can.
Not that way. I was like, there's no way he's dying from this. It doesn't look... Anyway, regardless, outside of...
What is bro waffling about?
Anyway,
what is bro on about?
Don't worry about it. I'm just gonna get on with the rest of my thought. I think... in the true the true nature of this movie, what would have made more sense is if somehow by like some crazy like coincidence, some kind of deed that happened because of his chain came back and ended up saving his life. I think that would have been a far more poetic way to end the movie. I think the way that they decided to end it still made sense, but I think it was very jarring and I don't know. I just didn't like it very much.
The paid-for movie didn't need a fucking murder.
Yeah, basically that.
I definitely do like Dylan's idea of like how to save him in the end, but at the same time I do feel as though it would conflict with its overall message, you know, of like not trusting Mexicans.
Yeah, I like the idea of, I think they're maybe trying to say that there's like risk involved in these types of things, but also that's stupid and very heavy-handed and it's dumb, and I think it is a worse movie because of the ending.
No good deed goes unpunished.
Risk doesn't have to take the form of physical harm, though. Risk can be a mental or emotional battle, not whatever they try to do at the end there.
He should have been gifted a physical board game of Risk, and then he goes, "Oh no, the Risk!"
Ooh. I'd say the main thing this movie does really well is acting. All of the acting is really good in this movie.
They're so great.
I'll agree
Holy
with that.
shit, Haley Joel Osment is so good at acting for a fucking 13-year-old or whatever he is.
Which is why I will never stop lambasting the children in these films that we review for being shitty actors. Fuck you, FNAF movie. That little girl was terrible. Stop just hiring child actors because they're adorable. Hire them for being skilled.
Yeah, don't you see? There was once one good child actor. That means that we can hold all of them to that same standard.
We've watched other movies with good child actors.
Like what?
Jumanji?
Yeah. I don't know. I think one concept that was a little late on me in this movie was, and I mean, I guess it makes sense because you wouldn't have known it until later on in the movie, is that the beginning was running parallel with like the middle of the movie, where, you know, this reporter guy is trying to find out why this random guy gave him his new Jaguar. He's like, "Oh, I'll pay it forward," and he starts tracing the story. But it turns out the old lady he was originally tasked to find, given the story, was in fact the kid's grandma. But that also means that it happened in recent times. So, like, the beginning and the middle were running side by side. and it was like a time thing we didn't see initially. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, like, as we said from the onset here, this movie is very melodramatic for the most part. And, I don't know, parts of this movie kind of just feel like they're just trying to kind of speed run traumatizing people, okay? I feel like we can just, like, we don't have to just cram all this shit in here, alright? We can give these other moments a little more time to, like, breathe and just kind of explore a bit more. And one of the parts that, like, really exemplifies this for me is when Trevor's father comes back in the picture, okay? Bon Jovi, he returns.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he basically what happens is he comes back, it's like, hey, daddy's home, and then woman goes, talks with a fucking teacher guy, comes back, and it's like, oh, he's abusive again, oh no. But, like, I feel like we really should have had, like, a few more scenes with the dad, just to kind of, like, show, like, maybe, like, a slow, like, deterioration going back into his old ways, Where it's like, I don't know, maybe like, he's so stressed looking for a job, he turns back to the bottle or something like that. Just something to not make it just like immediately like, oh no, I fucked up. Oops. I guess the teacher was right.
Yeah, that was a very 180 thing to happen. I thought that was rather strange, but me being me, I paid no mind to it.
And also the big reveal with like the teacher's, the origins behind his burns. It just felt a little overboard.
Yeah, it was a little gruesome. I was like, there's no way any person in their right mind would ever do this to their own child, I don't think.
Oh, it 100% does happen. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. They could have gone with something less intense, I think.
Yeah, it wasn't very digestible for this film.
Jackson, what were you going to say? I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
Oh, I was going to say, I think melodrama as a genre is totally fine in some instances, but I think this movie definitely takes it a little too far. Mostly just because a lot of it is really forced, which is kind of going into what Nico was saying about, like, the dad, for example. They talked about the dad thing, and then they had to basically use him as an example to make the woman kind of realize things. And it was all very forced. They had, like, the scene of her just appearing in the fucking parking lot was very forced because I think they just didn't know really how to, like, set that up. And there's a lot of things like that in this movie where you're kind of just, like, jumping from scene to scene to, like, get some traumatizing shit, forcing it all to happen because they don't really know how to do it in a through line. Honestly, the writing in this movie is kind of dog shit. I think the setup of everything could have been a lot better if it was just paced better.
Yeah.
But it's all happening way too quickly, and they're forcing a lot of things to happen that shouldn't happen at certain parts. Like the fucking dad, I don't think need to be a part of this movie at all. There's better ways where they could have had the teacher and the wife connect. Also, what the fuck does the teacher even see in this woman in the first place? She's just some fucking dumb broad, like, who immediately abandoned him to go back to her fucking piece of shit husband. What the fuck does he see in her?
So, like, I think that, like, he's like a dude who's like all fucking burned and shit like that. So I assume that's like, well, he has pretty slim pickings, okay? He can't afford to, like, be too selective here. So it's like, well, there's a woman who is interested in me.
Yeah, but
that's all I need, I guess.
But their relationship was so, like, cringy, though. Like, every time they interacted with each other, it was just like, well, especially in the beginning, obviously not towards the end, they just went at each other's throats for, like, no reason. Like, especially the mom. She just fucking attacked him out of nowhere just because he is the way that he is. She's just assuming he's talking the way he is because he's trying to belittle her or something, which is this is a terrible trait to have. Like, don't just attack people because you think they're trying to belittle you or demean.
Yeah, I totally forgot she was a total fucking bitch at the start. I think the teacher was justified as hell for, like, pushing her away at the start when she, like, rushed into his classroom, and then for some reason they, like, flipped it around and made him actually the dickhead for being crass about her, even though she was a total bitch at the start. Yeah. Another small thing, too, is, I don't know if you guys thought the same thing as me here, but again, this is a small thing. The teacher in his backstory about, like, how he got burned just seems like a completely different character than what we see in the movie a lot of the time. Like, he seems like a fucking uber autist in most of the movie, and then he seems like he's the fucking Chad main character guy in his, like, story about running away from his abusive parent and then, like, trying to, like, get back and help her out. Seems like a very different character, but that's such a minor thing.
I imagine your personality changes a bit if you've been lit on fire.
Potentially.
Yeah, I didn't really view any conflicting, personalities with him. I thought the way he was made sense in my mind.
So, guys, do you have anything else to say about this one?
No.
Nothing important.
Whoa! That's insane. Tanner, do you want to kick off our ratings here, dude?
I'm gonna give Pay It Forward an A.
Whoa, that's a very good rating. Jackson, how about you?
I give it a B+.
Whoa, that's B plus tacular. I'm gonna give it an A minus. Dylan, how about you?
I'm also gonna give this movie an A.
Guys, you will not believe what the movie landed at overall.
A
minus?
minus.
Holy shit. You guys got it. Congrats! It is, in fact, an A minus tier movie.
The math's not hard, guy.
The math is mathing.
The math is mathing.
Yeah, the melodrama is a little too forced for me to want to rate it any higher than like a B tier movie. I like where they're going for with it, but it needs a good amount of restructuring. It was a pretty messy movie.
But at the same time, like, the fucking reviews that we saw for this movie, people fucking despise this thing, apparently.
They were way too harsh. Everybody, I mean, maybe there's some truth behind what they're talking about with like them making this movie just to garner an Emmy or something, because it's like just some super sappy, like, change the world bullshit, which, you know, Emmy reviewers go crazy for. But
it's literally,
I think it's being dicks.
In my opinion, it's literally these reporters playing into people being like, all these news people want is for, shows to delve into complete and utter schlocky debauchery. They just want nihilism and sex on screen.
You could say, Tanner, that what they want is violence in movies and sex on TV.
Yeah, I could say that.
Do exactly.
True.
Anyway, what's the next thing?
Alrighty, now we're going to be talking about Dylan's pick of the week, Race to Witch Mountain, the 2009 film, not the original Escape from Witch Mountain.
All right. So Race to Witch Mountain is a movie that features Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. He's a taxi driver in Las Vegas, and he's got some crime-ridden background. Some like mob boss tries to recruit him back. He's like, "No, fuck off." Next thing he knows, he's got two children in the back of his taxi who randomly hand him like $15,000 or some crazy shit. Turns out, by the way, UFO crashed at the beginning of this movie. They're aliens, by the way. They're trying to find data their parents planted on this planet a long time ago so they could save their planet and Earth from being invaded and being taken over because they're bad at managing their planet. They're being hunted by some kind of bred assassin thing that ultimately ends up dying. They get back to their spaceship. The girl gives Dwayne Johnson telepathy or whatever. They become famous for psycho UFOism or whatever, and the children come back. The end.
I didn't realize until just now that we watched 2 movies set in Las Vegas this week.
Oh yeah, Pay It Forward was also Vegas. I totally forgot about that.
Anyway, on to my haiku.
Let's go.
Buff taxi driver helps some weird alien kids. Why is he not in jail?
Dude, Mochi is staring at me right now while he licks himself.
Oh,
He's just going crazy on his balls right now, staring at
What
me.
a pervert.
Alright, guys. The ultimate question here. Would you much rather have telekinesis and telepathy, or would you like the power to control your molecular density?
Telekinesis sounds a lot more convenient to
Yeah,
my
I'd say
day-to-day
so.
life than shifting through walls or whatever.
Unless I could, like, turn invisible, no, I don't really care about that
Well,
shit.
molecular density has nothing to do with invisibility, so
Then
I
I
would
don't
have to
care
say
about
no.
that shit.
Yeah, no, it seems like there's an obvious choice here.
I'll go molecular density just because I like the idea of making myself impervious to harm.
Yeah, exactly. See, I figured that's how this would play out. That's kind of 100% how I imagine this going. I mean, I think I've watched this movie once in my entire life, and it's been a very long time since I've seen it. I wasn't expecting much for this movie. I thought the movie was pretty enjoyable. I don't know, it was just fun to watch. I don't really have anything major to say about this movie. I kind of watched it and enjoyed it. So if you
Nothing
guys
major to say. Dude, this movie was amazing! I'm kidding, we're not doing that bit again. This movie was fucking lame.
I thought it was well made, but extremely generic.
Yeah, 100%. Like Dylan said, I had also watched this movie a long time ago, one time, and I remembered legitimately nothing about this film.
I think this is about as good as a Disney Channel original could be.
I wouldn't. I'd say it's a little better than that.
Dylan has apparently never seen Smart House before.
I've seen it like twice, and I did not really enjoy Smart House.
We're watching Smart House next point.
I do think the kids gave pretty solid performances. Of course, when the performance is, hey, you're alien, so you need to act weird and stilted, it's much easier to pull off, admittedly. Yeah. But I thought they did a good job at the very least.
I mean, I don't know. Jackson, do you have anything to say about this one?
I mean, I have a lot of just random minor negatives I can throw at this movie, but
Go for it.
like,
We're here for it.
Fucking, I had like so many complaints while we were watching this movie, but this film is so forgettable. I don't remember any of that shit at this point.
Damn.
Yeah, I guess a couple of the big ones. Tanner mentioned this in his haiku, but it's dumb as shit that they're not like federal fucking criminals like the main characters. They broke into a scientific laboratory, stole government property. They've done this multiple times. They assaulted federal agents. They should be fucking thrown in prison for the rest of their lives. Very strange. And then also them escaping is pretty, I don't know, whatever. What the fuck was I gonna say? Oh yeah, the stupid fucking bred to kill alien that was there to stop the twins from getting back onto their spaceship is fucking horrible at its job. It is like the worst bred to kill alien of all time. It is so much of a non-threat for like the entire movie. What's funny too is that from a lot, obviously I don't think the thing's probably smart enough to be able to do this, but if it was just collaborating with the US government, it would have made everything so much easier, and instead it was basically just helping them out by blasting all the fucking US government people to give them a clear path. It did a horrible job. It was a horrible antagonist. I don't know if that was like the point, maybe. Who knows? I don't really, whatever, it's stupid. There's a lot of other really stupid things. It's also just luck that they got into the fucking taxi with the super ultra badass. It's also just luck that for some reason he feels inclined to actually help them and believe them when they're two aliens that I don't know if he should actually trust or not. A lot of really just dumb, stupid things. The writing's pretty horrible in this movie. I think that's about all I'll say about it.
I will agree. I did think it was rather random and not realistic that this guy was super chill with everything that was going on initially. And then when it came out that they were aliens, I mean, I guess at that point he's like, oh, okay, makes sense. But like, when he was like, for example, they're at the abandoned cabin, he's like, oh, this is normal. And like, especially when they hand him like $15,000 and they hook up some random device to the fridge, or like even before then he hits him with like the bedpost and it phases through the kid or whatever. Like, he just questions absolutely nothing. He's just super chill with everything. This doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the movie, but like just small like weirdness cues that he was not picking up on, whether it was intentional in the movie or not. I don't know what they were going for there, but
yeah, this movie's like a total nothing burger.
Yeah. And because of that, how about we just go ahead and get onto the rankings here? Dylan, what'd you rank this one?
B+.
B+, wow. I'm gonna give it a D+. How about you, Tanner?
I gave it a C+.
Whoa.
I give it a D.
Damn.
And that puts it at a C.
Whoa.
Overall.
Let's
which
go.
sounds about right, to be honest.
Yeah.
This movie could have been pretty average, but it had horrible writing, and that drags it down a lot.
Yeah.
Already our final movie of the week. This was not something that any of us picked. It was just Blake was hanging out and we wanted to watch a movie, so that's why we threw this one onto the list. That being Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the 2010 film.
Alright, so boys, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. So, this film is about Scott the Woz, okay? He's just like a normal-ass gamer boy, and he's been, he's been a little down in the dumps lately, he got dumped and shit like that, so he's making a comeback here, okay? He's now on the rebound, he's dating a high school girl, but, she just isn't scratching the itch quite for him, so he ends up running into the girl of his dreams. Her name is Ramona Flowers, boys. You know her, you love her. And Ramona has a bit of baggage, okay? In order for Scott to be with her, he needs to fight and defeat her 7 evil exes. Not ex-boyfriends, exes. That'll make sense later. And so over the course of the film, we witness as Scott kicks the shit out of each and every one of them in very unique ways, as the film just goes from like fucking... It just goes off the rails, okay, boys? At the very end of the movie, we see a Scott, you know what? Maybe a Ramona wasn't what he needed. What he really needed all along, instead of finding a girl to fix all his problems, is to just get some self-respect already. And then in the end, because of that, he was rewarded with a woman. The end.
Whoa.
Quick question, just so I can
Hang on a second, Dylan.
I keep forgetting about the haikus, I'm sorry.
Here's my haiku, as inspired by Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Ephebophile. Let's go get this bread, gamers. Cheating, no biggie.
Damn. Yeah, quick question. I'm trying to get a bearing on how this movie functions. Are they in like some kind of video game universe? How does...
Don't fucking worry. I knew you were
Yeah,
gonna
didn't
complain
you
about
say-
this shit,
Yeah.
motherfucker.
Listen, hold on. But like, is it Demon Slayer
Just
shit,
don't
or is
fucking
it...
worry about it.
I want to worry about it. I want to know how the mechanics of this world works. Are they actually doing the things that are showing, or is it imagination, or is it just stuff we're supposed to see?
Both.
How does it work?
It doesn't
Both
matter.
what? I listed like 3 things.
It's everything.
None
It's
of it
all
matters,
All of the
Dylan.
above.
Just sit
Do
down
they
and enjoy
have-
the movie.
Do they have mystical powers?
Sure.
What do you mean, sure? That's not an answer.
It's unexplained. What
This
you see
is
in the
just
movie
what
is what
Canada
you get.
is like, dude.
I'm just gonna imagine that their world operates off of the basis of like video game mechanics and shit. They just get everybody can have powers if they choose or something or
Sure,
activate
if that's what
whenever.
sets your mind to ease, go for it.
It doesn't, because I was really hoping one of you had an answer for me.
It's just the movie being stylish.
Yeah.
The
It
people
was-
who created it didn't think about it.
It was very stylish. I love this movie. It was pretty quirky and kick-ass. It was just my vibe, you know.
Just your vibe. That's honestly very reassuring. I was very torn between whether or not you would love this movie or despise it. I couldn't
I
tell
fucking
which it would
loved
be.
it. Why would I hate it though? Like what reasons do you think I would hate it for?
Spend too much time thinking about it.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I mean I was like trying to figure it out, but I wasn't gonna let thinking ruin a movie.
Yes, this movie is very stylish and funny. It has excellent, snappy dialogue, and I'm sure Nico was worried about this for me. It wasn't too quirky.
Oh, thank
Let's
God.
It didn't cross that threshold for me where it was overly quirked.
Thank goodness.
My one downside is, here's what I wrote down, and let me see if I can articulate it better. Muddled heartfeltness.
What do you mean by that?
I feel like we're kind of going in the direction where Scott Pilgrim learns a certain lesson, but then like the results he get don't really make sense with that. Like I mentioned in my thing, it's like Scott Pilgrim is like, yes, I cheated, and then everything's all cool, I guess. And also they kind of are setting up like, no, knives would be the better choice for you, or they would set up, hey, you should probably say I shouldn't have dated a high schooler. Neither of those happen, and then he still gets Ramona at the end, even though, like, by all accounts, they would not make a good couple. They're like, there's no reason for them really to be together other than he's just kind of obsessed with her.
Well, yeah, I'd say that you're kind of right on quite a bit of that. So, yeah, pretty much what's going on in this movie is that, like, you know, Scott is kind of a fucking piece of shit, okay? That's
Yes.
just kind of like his whole thing. So Scott kind of has like this toxic thing going on with Ramona, where there's like this foundation he's created, where like he's built up this perception of her being just like the girl of his dreams, who'll be able to fix all of his problems. And you know, over the course of the film, he realized that okay, she has problems too. Okay, she also has flaws. Like you know, this fantasy that he has created in his mind about her, he sees that it's hurting all of the people around me, and so you know. Slowly but surely, he begins to, like, you know, open up, fix himself. He's able to gain the power of self-respect. That's the big thing in this movie. It is literally more powerful than the power of love, is what Scott is able to acquire. However, this is kind of just told to us. We don't really see how Scott has become a better person, other than just being like, hey guys, I'm kind of an asshole. I'm sorry about that.
Sorry.
And, yeah, like, who he ends up with at the end, this is a pretty hotly debated thing. Like, you know, ending up with a high school girl is definitely not the ideal solution here.
She was 18 by that point.
True! Still a high school student, but 18, so... what is the age of consent in Canada, by the way?
14.
Oh. Fair play then, Scott. Live your dream, dude.
I'll fact
But
check
yeah,
that for you real quick.
Ending up with Ramona, I don't think is totally the right way either, but at the same time, like, I can also see it still, because, like, you know, she's finally been able to, like, you know, get past all the stuff with, like, her past, with all these exes and shit like that, and Scott's allegedly become a better person, and so they're now, like, you know, forge a new future together, and as hopefully healthier people, but, holy shit, it's 16 in Canada, that's insane.
Good job, Scott.
But, like, Ramona and Scott don't really have any chemistry at all. Like, I feel like their romance is like the weakest part of this film for me, and that like, you know, we just don't. He's with her because she's hot, and she just like, you know, started making out with him when he came over to his house. And now they're a couple. There's not a whole lot else really going on there between them.
He should have ended up with neither of them because they're like, you know what, you're right, you are an asshole, I forgive you, but I'm not gonna be with you.
Yeah, I'm just too cool for you, honestly.
Like, they all should have been like, okay, this was a growing experience for all three of us, and we're gonna move on with our lives, and now we're, like, better people.
Yeah.
But other than that...
Yeah, exactly. Other than that, though... Like, those are flaws in the movie, I do fully acknowledge, but at the same time, okay? My voice is cracking, I'm so excited to talk about this film. Like, this was phenomenally stylish, okay, in every respect. From just, like, the editing, cinematography, soundtrack, the passion that was poured into this film just shines through so brightly in the end product here, guys. Like, this is, like, fucking, like, my fourth time watching this film now, I think. I'm still catching all these, like, little cool editing flourishes I never noticed before, you know? Like, this shit's fucking insane.
Yeah, this movie has 2 Avengers in it.
Yeah.
You got Captain Marvel, you got Captain America, what else do you need? There was some other third thing I was gonna say about this. Oh, no, I was just gonna say, yeah, I know I've always heard of Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. I kind of imagined it being like, you got this one chick with, like, superpowers, she's trying to fight off... I knew it was, like, ex-boyfriends or whatever... and I just figured that she gave Scott Pilgrim powers to fight them off, and that's just how the story of Scott Pilgrim versus the World went. But it like the story doesn't change, right? This is the movie interpretation of the I don't know. Was it a show? Was it a
comic book?
It was initially a graphic novel. You see, Scott
Gotcha.
Pilgrim was actually the only like Western comic I've ever read. Not ever read, but like actually finished in my adult life.
Yeah.
It's really solid as well. It's a decent bit different from the film, just because like, they get a lot more time to flesh it out, which I think is like one of my biggest problems with this film. I just really wish they had a lot more time to flesh it out. Like for example, like Kim, like there are all these relationships that Scott has that you just kind of have to insinuate on. Like they kind of say like, oh yeah, Kim and I are cool, we used to date. I would like to see like how like his relationship like kind of fell apart with her, I guess, is the big thing, because like there's obviously some sort of tension there. We don't know what the fuck it is though.
Yeah.
Dude, I think the ending being incredibly rushed feeling from my perspective is the worst part about it, but it's pretty sweet otherwise. That's about it. I thought a lot of the humor was pretty unfunny, but I could see why some people would enjoy it, and I think the movie's very stylish and silly.
Yeah,
There
some
we
is
go.
definitely like really unabashedly itself. Like you kind of just need to be fully prepped for it and be willing to accept the movie for what it is. And not everyone will like what the movie is, so that's totally understandable. This is a full through and through a cult classic. Like it's definitely not for everybody.
Yeah, I was neither of those things, and I enjoyed this movie.
Whoa. One of the other like little things about this movie that I do appreciate is that it's a type of like rom-com coming of age story that you don't really see very often, where it's like, it's like this it's like a dude in like his early 20s, like post-college age, where he's just kind of like directionless, akin to like Take Me Home Tonight, as well as fucking 500 Days of Summer, where, it's just this guy who, like, maybe love isn't really the thing he needs. Maybe he just needs to, like, figure out what the fuck he wants to do with his life.
Yeah.
And with that said, guys, let's
Nico,
go ahead and
what'd you
get
rank
on...
it?
Yeah, so my ranking for this movie is an A.
That's quite frankly insane, but okay.
Shocking.
He doesn't even like the movies he likes.
I do like this movie. They're just, like, an A is still really good rank, first of all, Tanner. I do have issues with this film, though, is the thing. Jackson, how about you? How'd you feel about it?
I gave it an A-.
Whoa.
Dylan, how'd you feel about it?
I thought this movie was fucking kick-ass. I gave it an S-.
Man, I'm kinda torn now, because this was one where I'm, like, 50-50 between two ranks, and we talked it up so much, but then the ranking Nico gave it is below both of them, so... I don't know.
Follow my path, Tanner. Path of
We
least
don't get
resistance.
much punk music in movies,
We don't.
and I do like video games. And
Hell
Michael
yeah,
Cera
brother.
is a delightful little chap. I might change this later, but I'll go ahead and go with my higher end and say S-.
Let's go.
So does this land higher or lower than that one movie you compared it to initially, but I can't think of the name of right now. The fucking stupid Tater Tots guy one.
Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh,
Napoleon Dynamite.
dude, are you kidding me? I like this one. Let me put it
Like,
that way.
I like Napoleon Dynamite. Scott Pilgrim is definitely much better than Napoleon Dynamite, though.
I don't know anything about Napoleon Dynamite. It could be some fucking cinema masterpiece I've never heard about. Anyways, that puts it at an A+ overall.
Let's go.
Fantastic.
Shockingly, I would agree that this is the best movie we watched this week.
Oh, 100%. I could definitely see myself pushing it up at some point later if I give myself some more time to think about it, like I did for some of the other ones that I ended up pushing up, but I don't know. Right now, just like the flaws are too, like, glaring in my head. It just makes me not want to quite give it that high,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so with that said, guys, we are now moving on.
Holy
to what
shit.
movies we're going to be picking out for next week, okay? Yeah? Tanner!
Yeah.
It's a brand new month, dude. So what does that mean for you?
That's right, guys. It is
God.
Fantasy February. I'm
Oh, you
going to be
changed it.
picking fantasy movies. Did I?
Yeah, you said it was gonna be fucked up February.
No, that was a joke, Dylan. I never
Thank
actually.
God.
It was always Fantasy February.
Thank God.
I believe I haven't had Jackson pick a random number for me. So Jackson, can you pick a random number from 1 to 10?
10.
Holy shit, we're watching Percy Jackson. I think the subtitle is And the Lightning Thief.
Yeah, and the Lightning Thief.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't
I
know.
like
What do you think that at 2012?
Yeah, somewhere around
Yeah,
there.
something
It
like
can't
that, I
be.
guess.
Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief.
Yeah, I think 2012 makes sense. It was definitely when I was still in middle school when that came out.
I will do a quick fact check while Dylan is picking his movie.
My AI is telling me it's 2010, but we'll see if that's
Okay.
right or not.
Fair enough. And as for my movie, so we did get Scott Pilgrim this last week, which is really solid, but it's been a while since we've really had a really stellar film here, okay? And so I figured, why not just bite the bullet and throw one of these in here? So we're going to be watching Spider-Verse this week.
Ooh.
First one?
Yeah.
Oh, I fucking love that movie. Movie fucking kicks ass.
Oh yeah. It should be pretty sweet.
Oh my God, I love this. So good.
However, Jackson, what's the Patreon got for us today, dude?
It's looking like we're watching the 1998 film Blade, as requested by Grapeseed Oil, which I think is Kyler. Yes, maybe?
Yes.
There we go. We got a fucking superhero week this week.
Yeah, we're getting all marveled up.
If you count demigods as superheroes.
They basically are.
Yeah. They're the superheroes of the Greek world.
I guess so. Hercules and all.
And speaking of the Patreon, Jackson, would you like to tell people a little bit about it?
Yes, in mere moments after I find where the stuff
Without
you
fail. Every time. Go to rules.
Rules, yes. Why is it in rules? If rules is not where it should be.
Where
These
should
are not
it be?
rules. I think announcements would be nice. I always look at audio information because I just think of that as like general knowledge about the podcast.
This is insane.
Okay, anyways, yes, guys, the Patreon is sweet. You get some crazy shit. Like, of course, we just rolled the Patreon. You can be part of that rolling of the Patreons. Once a month, you can request a movie for us to watch, as well as topics, and talk to people like Tanner and his loving boyfriend Dylan. And also other plentiful things, like, of course, you get 500 slime coins as part of being on the Discord server one time. Also, you get access to the Discord directly. You get early access to all of the videos. The second they're done editing is when you're able to watch them. And we also have a pre-show that you can watch as well. Also, you get your name read out. I don't know who those are. Give me a second. Hold on.
While he's looking that up, I have horrible news, guys. The full title of Percy Jackson is actually Percy Jackson and the Olympians, the Lightning Thief.
It sure is, Tanner. It sure is.
Anyways, that shit's completely out of nowhere, but we've got some crazy names to read out here, like Netta Gant, Raheem Wajawani, Kyler Nikolai, guys, gotta be honest, I raped your cats, Top Ramen Man, Joshua Bean, that's it, I'm quitting the fucking podcast, you guys are all assholes, Tutbot, Lucas Ledette, Hunter, and Jacob Edwards.
Yeah, thank you very much, everybody. And if you enjoyed it, remember to ring-a-ding that bell. Bye-bye!
Bye.
Bye.